in his final World Championships. We say goodbye to Adam Blythe for now. He's off to get into the breakaway. I mean, you've got to be quick to get up the road when Pogacar's chasing you, haven't you? Blythe will be with Danny, will be with Matt, and of course Orla will be moderating the chat at the end of these World Championships. Robbie will be staying with me to the conclusion of what has been an amazing race. There's still perhaps something to come. We're trying to be realistic about this, because Pogacar at the moment is looking unbeatable here. But he's got 59 seconds. He's still got to take the climbs again. On that last lap, there was the chat about feeding, the brief worry. Has he fed and watered properly? We're about to find out.
Now, I think he's taken the opportunity on that last descent and this run along the lakefront of Zurich to make sure he's hydrated and he's all carved up and ready for this final lap, and he's back on what is really his terrain, back onto the climb where he's opened the gap. On the rest of the circuit, the groups chasing and attacking, counter-attacking behind him have somewhat held him, not let it extend by much at all. But when he's got to the climb each time, he's just ridden further and further away, extended that gap into a race-winning lead. And this time up, there's no need to put himself under too much pressure. But it's Pog. He'll take more time.
Inside 25 k's to go. It's the last lap now. There's Bauke Mollema in the orange on the left. Mark Hirschi, he was alongside Stefan Küng, the candidate to be the best Swiss finisher. But it's Hirschi. He's undefeated in his last 5 one-day races. Looking for what he can from here. On lead, what a performance it's been from him. Enric Mas and Roger Adrià there for Spain. Gaudu with Valde. Vatsek riding well. And it's Pog on the climb for the final time. It's Zurich Bergstrasse, 17.2% max. You can see the 7% average over 800 meters. There's that brief respite, and then he's up the hill, the longer climb to Viticon. I'm just looking at him here. It's the same metronomic movement of those legs. He does not look moved in any kind of negative way.
No, he's just that style that we've gotten so used to watching, that sort of little bit of a rocking through the hips, but he's such a circular pedaler where you see it, some other riders, many other riders, that more push-pull action at best. He is power through the entire circle of the pedal stroke. And I think that's one of the secrets to Pogacar. Not, of course, the physical talent. He is physiologically above and beyond everybody in the peloton at the moment. But his pedaling style, the way he sits on a bike, the way he powers it along, is so smooth and efficient. Poetry in motion.
And here he is. No shortage of support for the heroics of one of the greatest we've ever seen on a bike. They roar, they shout, they fate him. It's been the case wherever he's been this year. 80 k's to go when he went in Strade Bianche. The Slovenian supporters are going to go wild, because at the end of this year, he's going to take the rainbow back to Slovenia, it seems. After Strade Bianche, he went to Catalonia and dominated. 4 stages in the overall there. A monument on the way to his first Giro, and a first Giro was a first Giro win. 6 stage wins there in the overall. Then the Tour, another 6 stage wins, another overall, a double that hadn't been done for 26 years. And as he's come back for this, he won in Montreal. He's here now. 22 wins this season. Something that already had not been done by anybody for over a decade. Pogacar ripping up the numbers, rewriting the record books, and it looks like we know he's going to do it. 24 k's from the finish. Now Skunge is putting Ben Hill in a little bit of trouble, and this is what's going to set the home fans delirious. Mark Hirschi dropping Van der Poel, dropping Evenepoel, putting the rest in trouble, and here she's after the podium. What a story that would be.
Well, Mark Hirschi, he was the man that not only the Swiss were talking about, but many in that, and he wasn't there to win it, so you can forgive him that one. But he's been on an absolute roll on the run-up to this World Championships, and now on the attack on the major climb of this circuit, and that would be a fairy tale for him to ride across to Scoins and Ben Healy and score himself a medal at the end of this World Championship.
Pogacar losing 5 seconds to Squinch, who's made that move. It's 1:08 now to Hirschi. That turns to 1:07, and those numbers continue to reduce. This is now Evenepoel, who's trying to come into the mix and fight for that podium. Fighting to the last with Van der Poel and with Enric Mas, who's riding really well. He's followed him up the hill with David Gaudu.
Healy back in the wheel of Scoins, so just briefly distanced by the Latvian, but the Irishman, he's back with him. So 11 seconds back now to Mark Hirschi, and being pursued by the group led by Remco Evenepoel. There's Hirschi at the right of screen.
22.2 kilometres to go, and for the first time in this race since he was alone, the gap now has gone down. 53 seconds, 10 seconds have gone out the way for Tadej Pogacar. Should he be worried?
I'm going to say yes, because we're still on the climb, and it is a place where I was convinced he would go further in front. Has he been riding within himself is the question, and he's not too worried? Or is the effort starting to tell on Tadej Pogacar?
He's been on the attack for almost 80 kilometres. Pogacar looks around, 49 seconds now. He's going to look up at the chalkboard there, and he might start to see something different. Is this the bit of drama that we weren't expecting, that isn't supposed to happen when he's in front? This World Championship road race continues to give. Netherlands and Spain now have numbers here. Mollema's going to ride, and Mas is there with Adria. Alongside them, it's Romain Bardet, who survived the longest now for France. That is quite the ride from the veteran. And Remco Evenepoel, who's here. This group now at 1:10. At 1:01, you have Mark Hirschi. At now, just 47 seconds. Healy and Squinch, who saved their acceleration for the climb, and for the first time are starting to reverse the deficit inflicted upon them by Tadej Pogacar. There might be another twist. There might be yet another chapter in this wonderful Swiss story today.
Well, we'd all but given it away to Tadej Pogacar when he went out to a minute with a lap to go. But we did say earlier how quickly things can change. We've gone on and on and on about nutrition, but this is why. And it's not just the nutrition. It's a 274-kilometre race. He went on the attack with 100k to go. We might say he's a machine, he's a phenomenon, he's all these sorts of things, but he is human, and you can blow up.
Just when you thought it was over. Not visibly swinging, not visibly shaking, not in a massive crisis yet. But those gaps changing tell us something, and what they're telling us is this race might still be on. You'd say it's still a long shot, but he's now starting to steady it.
That ticker hasn't changed now for the last 30 or 40 seconds. It tumbled, and I want to see evidence. I want to know that it's absolutely come down to 47, and this ticker's not just playing with our minds, because Tadej Pogacar, as you said, Rob, visibly, he doesn't look distressed. He doesn't really look like he's slowing. Here's Hirschi coming across to Scoins, and Healy just up the road in front of him.
Hirschi looks around. He will see 8 seconds behind him. The likes of Van der Poel, Evenepoel, Mas, Bardet. This is Squinch. And Healy continues to fight as well. The bottom of the climb, it looked like the podium might be going that way without any sort of big reaction. But they found something here, spurred on by Mark Hirschi. Pogačar puts another second back into his own lead. That calms that theory down for the moment.
And that big burst from Mark Hirschi out of the group of Evenepoel, Van der Poel and the others got him more than halfway across the gap to Healy and Scoins, but now he's just plateaued. He can't close it. He's drifting back the other direction.
Van der Poel being chased by Simmons and by Enric Mas. Off in pursuit, representing Australia, is Ben O'Connor. What a season he's had.
Yep. Mollema, Evenepoel, Bardet, Adria.
105 back to this group. And as Squinch continue to try and pedal for his life and for his nation. Latvia represented by a tremendous bike rider who's having a super season. And those words wouldn't go anywhere near to describing what this man has done in 2024. He's about to add something else to it, maybe, but look at Enric Mas. Enric Mas has learned the art of attacking, and here he goes again. We saw it at the Vuelta. He is in the form of his life, and Spain can dream of a podium.
Enric Mas now making his way across to Mark Hirschi, who's doing just as much looking over the shoulder as he's looking at the group in front of him. Enric Mas, it seems the longer it goes on, the harder the grind, the better it is for Enric Mas, off the back of a superb welter for the Spaniard. And he is pedalling his way across to the Swiss.
And it's the United States through Simmons, who's getting better and better with each pedal stroke too, who's pushing on. Van der Poel's on his wheel. Bardet. For a while it was all about Gaudu in this group, but Romain Bardet's there. Then O'Connor, Roger Adria, Mollema and Evenepoel, and now Hirschi will have company. Just ahead of this group is Enric Mas, who's got onto the wheel of the Swiss.
That's going to be good for Hirschi that Enric Mas gets across. Those two cooperate. You can see the gap on the road. It is, what, 50, 60, 70 metres between them and the Van der Poel group. Another look over the shoulder from Hirschi.
It's been a real step forward again for Enric Mas this year, perhaps when we least expected it as well. Became a father, much more mature, and that performance at the Vuelta has catapulted him onto this. Another reaction here, but it's still stop-start. Everybody's on their hands and knees now.
Volker Mollema is just throwing everything down onto the pedals to stay in this group. O'Connor accelerates at the front of it again, followed by Simmons, Adria, and Van der Poel. Well, he's asked by the others to swing into the gap. Conversation between Pogačar and team manager Urs Moon.
How's your Slovenian, Robbie?
Well, I'm just reading the face, and the struggle is getting real now for Tadej Pogačar. Still holding 47 seconds, but we did not expect him to hand that much time back to the chase of Healy and Scoins.
The deficit has been
not over.
15 seconds on the first part of the lap. Tadej Pogačar has conceded 15 seconds so far. He's all alone, and now Evenepoel. And this is Evenepoel like we've not seen him before in this race today. Mathieu Van der Poel makes the move. Adria will try and chase.
Evenepoel not going on the steep, hardest part of the climb, scrambling for the wheel. Hirschi and Mas, or Mas now, a moment ago, he was looking effortless. That belies what's going on within. The Spaniards' legs are screaming. O'Connor trying to go across.
And more of the gap gets chipped off again. And Tadej Pogačar is losing seconds. 42 turned to 41 now. It looked as though he'd stemmed the flow. It's looked as though he'd managed to put the plaster on. But Tadej Pogačar, wow, this race might yet change again. And it keeps on giving.
Honestly, now any one of these, well, what's become now 4 groups on the road, any of them could win this title, because Tadej Pogačar, back to 40 seconds, he has handed back 20 seconds to Ben Healy and Tom Scoins. He's lost 40 to Mas and Hirschi since the start of the last lap.
Tadej Pogačar came through the finish line with a minute of a gap. Tadej Pogačar started the climb with us asking if he'd fed and watered correctly. That was going to be the only thing that was going to stop him. He's starting to show nerves, he's starting to show irritation, and the gap is starting to look weaker. 37 seconds, it's almost been halved, and we are not yet halfway through this lap. Yes, the most difficult part has been done, but if there's a group together working on the flat at the end, that is where the seconds could disappear. He's got to make it to the descent with enough of a gap to keep it there. It's 39 seconds turning to 38, and now the 2 chasers must drink, eat, and get ready for the finale too. Squeens does that in a hurry. He's now with Healy, but now with them, Hirschi and Mas, and what a road race. Switzerland suddenly, after everybody else in the whole bunch looking out of it, are looking at maybe an outside opportunity to win the world title. You've got 2 former champions in the chase. Evenepoel has awoken. Mathieu van der Poel is here and mounting a defence. And Ben O'Connor is trying to crown his year with something really special. Just as we were wondering what we'd talk about for the last lap. Oh, wow. There's plenty of material right in front of us. Tadej Pogačar, what's happening?
That is plenty. Tadej Pogačar now, compared to the last couple of laps, even though he's on an uphill drag here at the moment, the speed visibly lower than that he's been holding for the last couple of laps. He's got 41 seconds on this chase group, and maybe that's the best thing that could happen for Tadej Pogačar as the group comes together, nobody willing to give it 100% effort when they hit the front anymore, and that gap may start to tick back up again. They're shown the time board by the officials. They'll know they're gaining time on Pogačar. Eyes will be lighting up even in this state of fatigue. They'll know this is game on. Any of these riders can still become world champion.
It's a boost to morale, a shot in the arm. You could see the faces as they came through the line last time. Resigned to defeat. Pogačar's put another couple of seconds back into them. But the new situation is Pogačar in front, 42 seconds ahead of Van der Poel, Evenepoel, Mas, O'Connor, Hirschi, Healy and Squinch. At a further 20 seconds, you have Adrien, Balde, Simmons and Mollema. It is quite the World Championship race, and its 91st edition. Back here in Switzerland with Tadej Pogačar fighting the rest, fighting himself, fighting his bike and his aching legs, looking behind when he really shouldn't, trying to win the world title for Slovenia for the first time.
Well, plenty of downhill to come now for Tadej Pogačar. The hardest part of the course is behind him. Another kilometre or so of flat section, that little steep kicker up and over the top and onto the descent. And just before, when Remco Evenepoel went through to the front, then it was Van der Poel. There was no one readily going through to the front. There weren't many there who were prepared to lay it on the line. Tom Scoins now going back through, but Ben Healy choosing to take more of a break at the back of the group. Mas just in front of him. He made that huge effort to go across to Mark Hirschi and work with him. And this is to the advantage now of Tadej Pogačar. This group come together, all eyes, they're darting around, looking at each other. Who's the strongest? Where can I get away? And Tadej Pogačar, he may not be gaining any more time, but he's not losing it as quickly as he was.
He might be dominant, but it's never boring, Robbie.
No, I won't say it's all part of the show, because nobody would willingly.
You wouldn't do that to yourself, would you?
He would not do that, but he is certainly keeping our attention.
50 k's an hour here's about to go up. Downhill, 14 k's to go. Entering a very quick finale to what has been a brilliant parcours. and a highly entertaining race. A little bit of help with that tailwind there.
And that's the thing, Rob. We go back to that feed zone over a lap ago where he missed that bidon, and Ogel took a very long time for the team car to be allowed forward. Even though he then got what he wanted later, in a race like this, over this distance, this length of time, with the calories that are being burnt, with the efforts being made, if you get into a deficit, even for the shortest amount of time, you can't get back on top of it. Once you're in a deficit, you stay there. You've got to have it at the right time, and if you don't, it's threatening. Your tank is going to go on empty.
Well, it isn't the first time we've seen it. Think back to Lombardy a couple of years ago, either last year or a couple of years ago, one of the two, and he was there. He was panicking. You don't often see that from him. Now then, 40 seconds turns to 39, and things change again. How's he looking, Robbie?
450 metres. When you put it like that, they'll just about be able to see him. And cars will be sent out of the gap. That is red alert. And that's
coming down as well. 397 metres. Hello. Robbie McEwen looks like he's in a state of shock. And I think it's the same expression many of you will have looking at your tellies, looking at your phones, looking at the tablets. Because on the picture, Pogačar travelling at a slower rate than those chasing him. Those chasing him having the power. There goes the neutral service car, and there is a dramatic swing in momentum away from a man who looked like he was the champion-elect, who is now starting to swing, who's now starting to struggle, whose tank and warning light is flashing empty. This is a really dangerous moment now for Tadej Pogačar, and the downhill here will feel like heaven. 6.25 hours in this race. He looks down. He is worrying. A reminder that if you're just switching on, this man attacked at 100 kilometres to go.
As you said, Rob, all the warning lights are on, and there's all but smoke coming out the back of Tadej Pogačar at the moment. 40 seconds. He's still holding that same time gap. And okay, the metres on the road that we're being shown, it's all relative when you're going uphill. That shortens quite a lot. But if it's 41 seconds and he can get to the downhill, he should be just safe to carry that through to the finish. But it's 7.5 kilometres from the bottom of the descent through to the finish. If they cooperate,
do not go away, whatever you're doing.
If they drill it, if this chase group can really cooperate, they can catch him. It's going to take all of them, no misturns, all 100%, but they could catch him.
And there might be a Pogačar in front, but there's a Van der Poel and Evenepoel, a Mass and O'Connor, all working together behind with Hirschi, Healy and Screens as well. A look behind from Pogačar. We just saw the neutral service car pulled out of the gap. We know this is a tricky descent. We know that it's narrow roads, and a lot of that will be for safety. But that normally happens when the gap goes below 30 seconds. It's telling us 700 metres here.
Let's look at the body language on this really steep little section now. Up and out of the saddle for Pogačar. And we'll compare that sort of speed now to what we'll see in the chase group. 43 seconds we're seeing on the clock, so edging away. Maybe they're just starting to think about silver in that chase group.
He looked all right there, didn't he?
Who can go? Can Van der Poel leave the rest with one of those cyclocross-style hill efforts?
It might need it, because Pogačar
He's going.
After really looking like he might have been a little bit of trouble, look more like himself. Let's see, here is Van der Poel in the orange. Keep your eye on him. He's on the wheel at the moment of Screens. Evenepoel at the back of this group. Here it goes up the hill. And now then, this is the moment. There, somebody has to go. 46 seconds.
Nope.
Nobody can go. Nobody can go. And Pogacar, at this point, was still looking decent when you compare him to these guys, no?
Yep, he is. I mean, look at that speed. You sort of taking in all the painting on the road and how quickly they're passing over that. They're not going fast than Tadej Pogacar. That ticker now, 48 seconds to Tadej Pogacar. That will be music to his ears that the gap is going back up at this point. And he's squeezing out every last drop.
You had that moment, didn't you? Just that final bit of the uphill before he got the rest on the descent there. You really got the sense he was in trouble, and the time gap was telling us that. The expressions as well. But he had that little bit of recovery. Very, very little bit of recovery. And he started to look a little bit more like himself. The gaps are showing that. 600 metres again, the difference. 52 seconds, it's telling us. And Pogacar, surely now, surely, almost has this in the bag.
Yeah, well, that gap in terms of metres, once he gets on this descent, that will almost be 950 metres, a kilometre in front. That'll be at the speeds they'll be hitting down here. Already over 60 kilometres an hour. Takes exactly a minute at 60k an hour. Van der Poel with an acceleration now.
And here he goes. Here she tried to follow. There's Squeeze as well. There's a gap now to Mass. .47 seconds. So much drama here. And we really did not expect this.
Evenepoel, he's reached his limit. O'Connor with him, and Healy. Healy's been almost always on the back of this group since he got caught. That's such a massive effort. And him and Scoynes off the front in the chase behind Pogacar, who is now getting some respite, able to just hold the legs still, let gravity do its work and defend his lead for him.
Eight Ks to go. The lake comes into view. 7 full laps around here. It's been almost 8 when you take in the first 3/4 of a lap when they went over the other climb to join that plateau at the top. An amazing 273-kilometre race. 4,500 metres of climbing. Many of the best bike riders in the world. Former champions, the defending champion, and at the minute with 46 seconds, after a wobble and a scare, I think Tadej Pogacar looks like the champion-elect. Bobby laughs. He knows there might be another twist, yeah, in that kind of race.
I just didn't dare agree with you just at this moment, not after what we've just seen.
You have to hand it to Van der Poel. Trained specifically for this, didn't he? Knew it was going to be difficult, certainly with this man turning up and racing the way he does. But he's still fighting.
Getting as aero as the rules allow. Well, he's on the edge of his seat, and he's had us on the edge of ours for the last lap of this race. We'd pretty much awarded the jersey, hung the medal around his neck, thought about the races he'll ride as world champion, and then we've had what's happened over the last 20k. What a script. Did you write this?
I don't think I'd be capable of this, mate. Incredible. It's not over yet. Switzerland is still in the mix for a medal, let's not forget. And after the cloudy week in terms of the weather, after the nasty stormy week, metaphorically, it's exactly what the Swiss fans would like as well. Can he or she pull it off? Now here's Evenepoel right inside. It's being followed by Van der Poel, who's there in the orange. Squeeze still there, still fighting. One of the rides of his life. 6 Ks to go. 50 seconds now. The 26-year-old Tadej Pogacar. There's not much new that we can tell you about him. There's much else we can say about him, full stop. He's got just over half a kilometre of a lead now, and now it's Hirschi putting in what he hopes will be the final dig, and this time there's gap, this time there's daylight, and now he's going to try and build on it. Van der Poel reacts. And he's still fighting.
And that gap to Tadej Pogačar is coming down quickly on this little stretch, the last uphill stretch on this course. And you can see the pain, the agony of Tadej Pogačar wrenching on the bike, not looking anywhere near as smooth as he has for the last 95 kilometres. Remco Evenepoel just off the wheels at the moment as well, but everything concertinaing back together.
Well, you have to hand it to Evenepoel. I think from quite a way away, you knew he wasn't 100% of what he can be. When he was out of position, when he wasn't going, as we now see Mas come around. Healy's the man in the front, by the way, now. 45 seconds to Pogačar. He's lost that little bit of time again on the uphill. But he's about to dive down again. He's near the top. Evenepoel showing that despite all that build-up, you know he's a special rider himself. Not quite 100%.
The leg's not quite there anymore for Remco Evenepoel, but it's pride powering him back on. He just does not want to be dropped by this group. At least wants to finish with them. Healy now pulled back by Mas. Look over the shoulder from Van der Poel. Scoins in his wheel. Scoins with the attack now.
In the red jersey, Tom Squinch. Van der Poel try and follow. What a defence, or an attempt at a defence at his title. Each and every rider here deserves a medal. Only two can get them.
Distance.
Squinch, Van der Poel, O'Connor, and Hirschi. There's that gap to Mas. Over the top they go, and here comes Pogačar on his way down to the flat and to run him. It's almost job done for Slovenia. A first ever world title. 46 seconds.
Nervous faces amongst the Slovenian team delegation there at the finish. You'd imagine as that the teammates, the staff, everybody watching this in Slovenia or roadside on the screen they can get in front of. Hearts in mouths.
Healy's gone here. Squinch is going to chase him. And now Evenepoel, from being right at the back, is chasing this. Musical chairs in this group.
It is, but you've got to say, Healy and Scoins really deserve medals in this race. Evenepoel, the man in third wheel, then it's Van der Poel. Ben O'Connor following him.
"97 kilometres since he attacked. And no, you don't need your hearing checked. Tadej Pogačar made his move with 100 k's to go. And he has 47 seconds of a gap over his closest chasers. Now we can say it, on the way to a world title. He's shown the gap for the last time. He knows the difference he has on those chasing. And they are fighting for medals themselves. And two former world champs are trying to join him on the podium. They're Evenepoel and Van der Poel. None of this lot who are with them are giving up. They've all ridden rip-roaring races. But nobody as audacious as Tadej Pogačar. We questioned where he was going when he went. Yes, even we questioned where he was going. But they've given each other a right kicking behind while he was out in the front, continuing to ride at his rhythm. Even that was almost too difficult, as Healy's trying to join him now. And Van der Poel will chase him down. With Hirschi trying to get back in, it will be stop, start once more. And it's all this stuff that has helped Pogačar continue to ride out the front. It has been a really special day, Robbie.
It's been just simply incredible the way this has happened strategically from Tadej Pogačar from such long range. But then in that strategy, Jan Tratnik, who sat up and waited out of that breakaway group and dragged him around to the next time of the climb. Then he was with his trade team teammate in Pavel Sivakov for an entire lap before going. But Tadej Pogačar will prevail, become world champion. And Mark Hirschi.
Ben O'Connor. Ben O'Connor's out the way as well.
Oh, the white tricked me.
1 kilometre for Tadej Pogačar, who is quite deservedly going to get a hero's welcome. Now looks behind and won't see anybody. Now knows that the pain is almost over. Shakes his head in disbelief, because exploits like this do not happen very often. 1987, the last time that somebody won the Giro, the Tour and the Worlds. It's a roar for a rip-roaring performance. And now the finish line's in front of him. For only the third time in the long history of professional cycling, the triple is going to be crowned. And who else to do it but Tadej Pogačar, the modern sports all-round wizard. He stunned us all at the start of the season, attacking with 80 kilometres to go in Italy. He's bettered even that here. Attacking from 100 kilometres from the finish. And no wonder he's emotional. No wonder he's believed. Because he had to believe. It's Pog's world in professional cycling at the moment. And these are Pog's worlds. Tadej Pogačar and the rainbow jersey. The perfect fit. 100 kilometres. Winning in a style that only he knows. But who's going to join him on the podium? Ben O'Connor is the first answer. He was up there at the Vuelta. He can't believe it. And what company he's keeping. Pogačar, it's O'Connor. And now Squeeze puts in the attack. Van der Poel realises he has to react. Here she's there trying to take the dream for Switzerland as well. Here they at the end of an historic barnstorming World Championships. And I'm not sure we will see a Worlds ridden like that, taken to pieces with 100 kilometres to go ever again. There's only one man who could do that. And that is Tadej Pogačar.
Great defence by Mathieu van der Poel. Third in the end. O'Connor escaping for silver. Van der Poel marking all the rest as much as he could. Brings them home in the sprint. But Tadej Pogačar has taken us on some adventure.
That was an exhausting watch. To think what it was been like to ride it. Here he goes. Off to celebrate. Ushka's there. Slovenia has a world title. And it's the golden couple of Slovenian cycling that's on your screen.
It's going to be some interview to walk us through, talk us through that final lap.
What on earth was he thinking when he went at 100 k's to go, Robbie?
Probably thinking, it's only 100k. But when we talked earlier about instinct in a bike race, not looking at numbers, but looking at what's happening around, the feeling that he had, and he just went from one champion to another. A year in rainbows ends for Van der Poel, and he's just beginning for Tadej Pogačar.
He had to win this. He has won this. As I just said, Tadej Pogačar in the rainbow jersey is quite the perfect fit. Well, exhausted, speechless. And that's just the commentators, Robbie.
Remco Evenepoel still willing to have a laugh and a joke with Mathieu van der Poel. So behind Van der Poel in third was Tom Schoyntz in fourth, Remco Evenepoel in fifth, Mark Hirschi in sixth. What a race. What a battle.
Well, I'd say something that when even experts of the long-range exploit, Evenepoel and Van der Poel, are laughing in disbelief about what they have just been part of. He doesn't just win, it's the way which he does it. Tadej Pogačar has his rainbow jersey. He's done it in the way that only he knows how. Oh, Pogačar and the World Championships. It's done. And in quite the style. And it'll take us a long time to really take in everything that happened there. Even behind in those last few kilometres, for real that. Just seeing even all those moves for second and third place.
And if you just purely look at the result, Pogačar, 40-something seconds, O'Connor, the rest, does not even go close to explaining how this race panned out.
Tadej Pogačar, you've almost won everything. What does it mean for you to be a world champion?
I don't know. I cannot believe what just happened. And yeah, after this kind of season, I put a lot of pressure on myself for today. And yeah, I had pressure from myself, from the team. We came here for the victory. Then. Yeah, I don't know, the race unfolded pretty quick, and there was a dangerous breakaway in the front, and yeah, I maybe did a stupid attack, but luckily Jan was there with me, and yeah, I never gave up until the final, and yeah, it's an incredible day. I can't believe what just happened.
Because that was not specially planned to take off with 100 kilometers to go.
No, it's, of course not. Yeah, we have planned to keep a race under control, but yeah, the race went quite early, and I don't know what I was thinking, and I just went also, and I went with the flow, and luckily I made it. But yeah, it was so tough, incredible.
But symbolically, it means a lot for you to be a world champion. You really wanted this title.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. After many years fighting for Tour de France and all other races, I never had a World Championship as a clear goal, and this year everything went smooth already, and yeah, just yeah, after a perfect season, it was yeah, really big goal to win World Championships, and I just yeah, I can't believe it happened, and I have to thank to all the team, and it was without them it would be impossible, and I'm super proud of national team, and yeah, let's go.
You can be. Congratulations. Enjoy the podium.
Thank you. What we've become accustomed to watching Tadej Pogačar race his bike, he said, the flow. It seems the flow him around a lap to go, but he was the tide all on his own.
Long way from the finish still here. Then there was Pavel Sivakov, a look around and, well, I'm going to have to leave him moment here.
No race radios, but the communication somehow to Jan Tratnik was perfection.
Yeah, all part of maybe having people at certain places, the military style planning. And if they're not from the Slovenian team, they'd be from the UAE team. You can be sure they wanted that as much as the nation. Pogačar has it. Wins solo, the longest since 1971, but attacked at 100 kilometers from the line. The solo element coming at 51.7 k's from the finish. That's what it means to them. Let's go and hear now from Ben Healy. He was close.
Ben Healy, what a fight. First, thanks for the show. Tell us about that final.
Yeah, it was bloody hard, to be honest, and thank God I was with Tom Scoynes because he was insanely strong today, and yeah, I mean, I did what I needed to do, but I didn't quite have the legs, you know, so yeah, I just, thanks to Tom.
First, to describe that collab you had with Tom's, and you were up there for the medals for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I did what I could, and like I say, he had the better legs than me today, and I just wish I could contribute a bit more, and maybe we would have stayed away, but yeah, I did what I could, and then tried to play my cards in the final as well, but yeah, it just wasn't to be, unfortunately.
I know you were close for a medal, but what does it mean for you, the way you were riding, being up there with the big guns?
Yeah, I'm really, really happy with that, you know, yeah, I laid it all on the line and almost paid off, so that's all you can ask for, I think.
Finally, Ben, some words on the performance of Tadej Pogačar today.
Yeah, what can you say? Yeah, just absolutely insane, you know. I don't think anyone expected him to go over 100k to go.
Well done today.
Thank you.
Tadej Pogačar. Top 20 on your screen now with Adrian, Mollema, Pearson, Hulgaard and Zimmerman in the top 15. Good ride from Onley, McNulty with Hindley up there again for Australia, for Mark, and Vacek, who was in that chasing group for a long, long time for Czechia.